So today I came out to put brakes on a 2005 Malibu, and something went wrong. Despite me bringing a whole bunch of tools and shit with me, I needed something else. Skip to 2 minutes and 24 seconds to see the actual fix. But you know what? I ain't trying to make no 30-second video on compressing them pistons, so let's just do the whole thing. I mean, we'll go from taking the wheels off to, replacing the pads and rotors. Whatever. If you don't like it, fuck off. Well, in this video there was a lot of interruptions. What? Working. So yeah, there was a lot of little kids, the wind was bad, an Attention Horror 2 popped by, so there was a lot of distractions while I was doing this, so I'm just going to talk through some of it. The audio might seem a little chopped up. Well, it is what it is. I can't fix that. So I had already done the other side, so I, had a better idea of what I was going to do when I did this side, and I decided to film it. So the big thing is making sure I can get this bleeder loose, which is going to make twisting the piston back in a little bit easier. So hit it with some spray the rotor a little bit. So I'm just going to pinch this hose off. So the bleeder here, I'm just going to tap it a couple times. Then I have a fancy 6-point bleeder wrench for this. I think it was 10 millimeters. My buddy's making a sexual reference in comparison to this socket, and it's totally fucking inappropriate for YouTube. So here I'm just taking off the caliper bolts. And I'm just going to try to work the caliper a little bit, pull it in just enough that I can, pry it off of there. Pry this butthole off of here. And this was the problem over on the other side. So it's a Sunday afternoon. I brought all kinds of tools with me, but I don't have nothing that's going to actually, compress this in. All I have is some Robo Grip pliers from like, 2000. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So yeah, I'm not going to bullshit you guys. It was kind of hard to do it this way. I'm not even going to lie. Really what I had to do is I really had to lean into it, as I was twisting it to get it in. The whole point of opening the bleeder was to make this a lot easier, So rather than just say, oh, it's so fast and easy and you don't need the tool, I'm just going to show you that it took a while and it sucked, and if you have the opportunity to use the tool, use the tool. Matter of fact, fuck this. The holes here have to be like straight up and down, you know what I'm saying? Because on the back of the inner pad there's like this little nub. So when you push it down, the little nub goes back in here. So kind of like that. So we know we're good. It's hard to keep up on what cars have what. I didn't know this thing had spin-in, caliper pistons. Of course, when we're done this, we're going to have to bleed this line, but that's no big deal. So I'm going to go ahead and snug the bleeder back up a little bit and pull the pliers off. And now we're just going to do a typical brake job, I guess, on a 05 Malibu. So I'm just going to try to tie this caliper up out of the way using a bungee cord. That way he doesn't, get into trouble. So in this one, the outboard pad got kind of worn down to nothing. So this thing had a little bit of uneven wear. and that slide was pretty tight. So part of this I'm just going to clean the slides out too. Yeah, getting these brackets off was a bitch too. Bang Mr. Rotor off of here too. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, somebody's struggling. Good job. So there's that part of that idler pulley again. I use this thing all the time to, help hold rotors on. So shout out to Mr. Idler Pulley. I'm pretty sure that's what it was originally. I try not to replace these clips. A lot of times brake pads come with new clips, but I try not to replace them unless they're totally fucked up. What I've noticed a lot of times is the aftermarket ones, no matter how much you tweak them or whatever, they just don't have the same bite as the originals. Matter of fact, the first one I did at the new place that I work at, I saw that the brakes came with new clips and shit, so I was just like, fuck, I'm just going to put them on. And I ended up having to pull the car back in and take that wheel back off and put the original clips back in. And I learned a valuable lesson that day. It's just keep the original shit in there. So nothing fancy here, just going to bolt the caliper bracket back on. I'm working on the car, man. I don't know what the torque spec is for these, so I just kind of put them on as tight as I could. They were super tight coming off, so I figured as long as I put them back on kind of super tight, we'd be alright. And we were. Just getting this bungee back off. I'm going to put a little bit of grease on the caliper where the piston meets the pad and where the caliper itself meets the other pad. Anything that I can do to help prevent any kind of noise or problem or anything, I'm going to do it. Wow, would that take an extra 20 seconds? It's 20 seconds well invested, in my opinion. I'm just putting these caliper bolts back in. I don't know what the torque spec for them are either. Alright, go ahead, pump it up 3 times and hold it. Are you holding it? Yep. Now I didn't show this, but we actually went and did that procedure 2 more times. So it was 3 times per wheel. Go ahead, put the bleeder cap back on, pop the wheel back on, put the lugs back on. And what is this? A helper appears. So now he's asking me a bunch of questions. What is that? What is that? What is that? And he's tightening up the wheel. What a good fucking helper. Good job, buddy. Even though I did most of the work. And you're not even really pushing on the ratchet. So I'm not going crazy putting this back on. I'm just getting them snug. And my helper has totally lost interest. So now we just have to lower the car and torque the lug nuts. And I believe the spec for the lug nuts on this car is 100 foot-pounds, but don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure it was 100. So since we bled some fluid out of this thing, we got to top it back off. And the fluid level is like way down there. The full line's right there. So we're just going to top this guy off. Do you hear this noise?
Yes.
How long is she gonna let that go? See, a lot of people they don't watch all my videos, so it's like I gotta repeat myself sometimes. Like I just put brakes on the car. The first 3 stops, I'm just gonna casually coast from like 25 down to, you know, nothing.
How about pick them up real quick?
So we made a couple stops from 35 to nothing. Everything's cool, so it's just smooth sailing from here. Like I said, we got away without needing that special tool. Turn them caliper pistons back in. So that's what's up. So thanks for watching. I doubt if you'll ever see another Chevy Malibu video again, but you never know.